Alaikum, dear sisters and brothers. For tonight's dinner, we're gonna cook three things. We're gonna cook a main dish, which is a stew called Qeymeh, and it's made of lamb, and also it has some split yellow peas. And we have a side dish which is called Kashke Badenjoon, and it has eggplants and whey. And also we're going to prepare a dessert. We're going to prepare some very authentic Iranian cupcakes. They're called Yazdi. So I'm going to start with my cake so I can just bake it in the oven. I'll just grab my ingredients. So I'm just going to crack my eggs first. And we have to whisk it. You can use also a cake mixer. I'll add some sugar to that. I'll continue with the whisking for a minute or two until it gets the color changes to a pale yellow color, a very light color. So the egg is ready. We added the sugar to it and just whisked it. You can see it's thick and the color have changed. So to this I will add my oil. I have olive oil and vegetable oil. I mix them together. Now I'll add some yogurt to it. To this I'll add some rose water. It has rose petals inside it. We can add those as well. And just a pinch of cardamom. This mixture of the rose water and the cardamom in the cake, it smells really good and really reminds me of Iran. It reminds me of the desert parts of Iran, the central Iran, Yazdi, Kerman, those areas. And this cake is from that region too. It's beautiful. And now we'll add our dry ingredients, which we have flour and also some baking powder. So I just sift these ahead of time. You have to sift it if you want a fluffier cake. So as you see, the cake batter is ready. It has to be a bit thick because this cake is just not like a normal cake. It's basically a dried sort of cookie cake. So I'll just pour this in my cupcake pan. And before I do that, I need to oil the cups, or you can just basically use papers inside the cups and just pour your cake batter in it. So I'll just use my spoon, or you can use an ice cream scooper, and I'll just put some batter in my cups. You shouldn't fill it all the way, just like 2/3 of the cup, because it's gonna raise because of the baking powder and the egg. So I'm just going to tap it just to make sure the surface is leveled, and I'll just sprinkle my cakes with some sesame. Pistachios. And I'll just bake these in the oven. I preheated my oven at 180 centigrade or 350 Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes, just until they're puffed up and they're golden. So I just took off the cakes out of the oven. They're just beautiful, golden and cooked. I'll leave them on the side just to cool down, then we'll take them off the baking tray. So now we're going to continue with our recipes. I'm going to make Kashke Badenjoon, which is basically made of eggplant, walnut, some whey, onion, and some dried mint and some garlic. So I chose this large eggplant, and I'll use as well these small ones. These have like a better flavor, and this one gives the dish more texture. So I'm gonna just peel these, and I'll fry them, and then we will see how to continue. And then we will continue with the rest of the ingredients. continue with the onions. I'll just chop my onions. I have 2 onions. I'll chop one. I'll just dice one, finely dice it, and then the other one I'll just slice it. Now we have our second onion, and I will just finely slice this. We will use this sliced onion for garnishing our dish, and the chopped one will go inside, will be minced with the eggplants. Now I will chop some walnuts. These walnuts also I have to chop them like 2 small pieces, but just like coarsely. We don't have to mince it. I'll just push them to the side. And I will also chop some garlic. Also, the garlic is for garnishing. So we're done with chopping, but basically I just wanted to talk about this ingredient that goes into this dish, and this is whey, and in Farsi it's called Kashke, and basically this is a dairy, and it's cooked yogurt. So you get like fresh yogurt and you just put it in a pot and you keep cooking it until it becomes like this consistency and the color changes to a light cream color. So and it has to be done over very low heat, so the yogurt doesn't get separated or burned. So this is Kashke. Basically you can purchase it from Iranian stores. They're just preserved in jars, or you can make your own if you like. So this will go into our dish as well. So right now I have to go back to my stove and fry the eggplants, but before that I need just to add a bit of salt to that, and then I'll fry it. You just show my hand pouring the oil. So I'll just add some oil to my pot, and I'll just fry these onions, the ones that I chopped for inside the Kashke Badenjoon. I will just let these fry for 2 to 3 minutes. Just want them to be light gold color and also to soften a bit. So now these onions are ready. I'm just gonna put them here over the eggplant that I fried. And I'll proceed with frying my sliced onions. So I'll add some more oil, and I'll fry these sliced onions. Remember, these are for the garnish, so I want these ones to be very crispy and light brown color. So I will leave these over medium-high heat, and you have to keep an eye on these. We don't want to burn them. So now we're continuing with preparing the garnishes for our Kashke Badenjoon. So I'm just gonna fry the garlics, and here I have walnuts with the onions that I fried, and also the eggplants that I fried. I have them here. I have just to mash them all together, and then I'll take this off the oil and fry some dried mint as well. I'm using the same oil from frying my onions and the garlics for the garnish, and to this I'm just gonna add some mint. I'll just simply fry some mint and use that for garnish as well. So this is the mint. Just put it in a bowl. And I have all the garnishings for my Kashke Badenjoon ready. I have the garlic, the onion, and the mint, and we'll proceed with preparing the Kashke Badenjoon. So I'm just preparing my Kashke Badenjoon. I have here the walnuts, the onions that we fried, the small chopped ones, and the eggplant. I'm just gonna use a fork or a spoon or whatever you want and mash the eggplants. They have to mash really well. To this I will add some whey or kashke. To this I will add some black pepper, and then I'll plate it and just garnish it with my garnishes. The Kashke Badenjoon is ready. I'll just grab a plate so I can plate this. So now we're preparing our main dish for today, which is stew, and it's called Qeymeh. And basically it has some lamb meat. It should be like boneless, and we have to cut it into small cubes, like 1 inch by 1 inch. And then we have these split peas, yellow split peas that I soaked for about an hour. And in this stew also we have some tomato paste, some saffron, and the most important ingredient is the dried lime. We're going to use both the powder and the whole one. And we'll also use some other spices like cardamom and a bit of cumin. And also for garnishing that stew, we need some potatoes that we will cut very finely. So I'll start with my onions. You have to chop them very finely. And then we'll start cooking the meat with the onion. So now I'll take the onions that I chopped and my meat, and I'll head back to my stove to start cooking my stew. So we're going to cook our qeymeh, the stew. I'm going to add some oil here, and I'll add all the onions that we chopped for it. I'll leave it on high heat. Just want it to fry and as well soften. So for 2 minutes over high heat. So the onions that we fried for our qeymeh is ready. I'll add my meat to it. I'll keep it over high heat because I need to fry the meat until it's brown and you know, it's fragrant. Then I'll add all the spices to it, and then we will add some water and just cook it. So while the meat is browning, I'll just take my dried limes, the whole ones, and I'll use a knife and I'll just poke some holes in it. This is a bit dangerous. Be careful when you do it. Just like this, just so the liquid from the stew goes inside and it tenderizes it and it gets cooked. I'll add this here. The dried lime, it adds a sour taste to this stew, and but it doesn't make it very sour, but it gives it a good sour taste. And also, like, you can feel the aroma of a lime, although it doesn't have like fresh lime in it. So now it's just time to add my spices. So I'll add some black pepper. I'll add lots of turmeric to this. I'll just add salt. And we need lots of saffron. I'll add some saffron here. And I also have some brewed saffron, which I will use as well. I'll add just a bit of cardamom to this, and just a dash of cinnamon, just a little bit. I don't want to feel the cinnamon flavor much, just a bit. And just a bit of cumin. And the most important thing, I need to add the ground lime. We need lots of that. And basically this ground lime is just like this lime. You put it in a spice grinder and you just grind it. Now it's time to add the water to this. And also we need to add our split peas, the yellow split peas that I soaked from before. Just need to add it to the stew so it gets cooked with the meat. So I'll leave this over high heat until it starts boiling, then I will cover it and reduce the heat to medium and leave it for 1 hour until the meat and the peas are tender and soft and fully cooked. So here we have our potatoes. I just chopped them very thinly and into very small wedges, or slivers. I just have to fry these until they're golden. Then we will use this for the garnish for our stew. So we're gonna add the tomato paste that we had to our qeymeh stew, and we're just gonna stir it and over high heat boil it for 5 minutes, and then the stew is ready. So this is our qeymeh. It's ready. It has lots of spices in it, but you can still add more spices, like more cardamom and saffron and lime, dried lime to it. And also you can add chili to it. It's actually very delicious with it, but the original recipe, it doesn't have chili, but it has spices. So you can add on the spices as you like. So now we're gonna add the potatoes that we fried to our qeymeh for garnish, and I'll just put this beautiful lime here. Use my cookbook, Authentic Iran, explore Iran's culture, and learn how to cook more than 100 of Iran's delightful recipes. Get your copy on Amazon or on express.com.
Badenjoon.